Good morning. My name is Mpodi Ta. I'm the Executive for Corporate Services at the Film and Publication Board. We are discussing an important topic, and that is to protect how this institution protects children and adults from cybercrime and cyber bullying, but also child pornography. I'm here with my colleague, Siabo Silwan, who is responsible for the child protection portfolio, and we will be discussing an overview of what her work contains, but more importantly, how you as a parent or a child can be protected using our processes.
The online space, our best friend, our biggest enemy, is where we are now focusing, and that's where we encounter all the challenges. Kids use phones for everything. Their lives, they can't even sleep without phones in their hands. They keep the phones under their pillows. But then, is that a good thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's a good thing. It exposes them to the world. They learn different skills. They meet friends. They do their assignments. Now, let's go to the bad side of using their phones, using the internet without supervision, without being properly guided, without knowing the risks out there. For starters, addiction. They don't know how to control their phones, or let me say their gadgets. They use their gadgets throughout. They don't even focus on important things in life, like, for example, socializing. Their schoolwork suffers. We once had a research done by Dr. Antoinette Basson, where learners were given, top achievers were given cell phones for the first quarter, allowed to use cell phones at school. In the second quarter, their cell phones were taken from them. They compared the results between the first and the second quarter. Clearly there was a difference. But in the third quarter, they were given their cell phones again. In each quarter, there was a huge difference. On quarters where they were using their cell phones, their marks dropped. On quarters where they did not have their cell phones at school, their performance excelled. Now we had an engagement with the learners, ask them why the difference in your marks. Is the same person, same educator, same, everything is the same. And they were frank enough and said, you know what, during lessons, instead of focusing on schoolwork, we focus on our gadgets.
Interesting.
Yes.
Wow.
And that is why some of the schools then introduced the no phone at school rule. But apart from that, your likes, your comments, your shares are converted to a value. The more you get the likes on your photos, whatever you post, the more you get your likes, the more you get your shares or your comments, the higher the value. Now, it creates some form of insecurity. If I post and I don't get the likes, I start asking myself, what's wrong with me? So that insecurity may result in anxiety. Unfortunately, in some instances, it might even result into withdrawalness, ultimately into suicide.
Wow.
I'm still talking about the light challenges that the kids are facing online. Now we go to the predators. What's their hunting ground?
Wow.
What is
their hunting ground?
Their hunting ground is obviously the online space, the social media. They pretend to be who they are not. They post pictures. I can easily post my daughter's photo and pretend to be her. She looks so much like me. And lure a boy the same age as my daughter.
My goodness.
Yes.
So that's the nature of the cyber space and the untalked about risks. But I think the reason why we want you to tell us more is because as a parent, You obviously want to appease your child. They also want to fit in amongst their peers. And you buy this product called a phone or a tablet or an iPad, not knowing that you're opening a floodgate to predators. So when a parent has such a challenge, a child innocently was online and a child has now been led by a predator, what does the FPB do to help this parent who may be concerned and wants to protect their child? What do they do? How do they get hold of the FPB? And when they get there, what will the FPB do for them?
Okay. Before they get hold of us, let me first indicate that as an organization, we've realized that we have child-headed families. We have so many challenges with our communities. We're not only focusing on children, we're not focusing on parents, we're focusing on all caregivers. And that is why we go out there, we conduct workshops with different stakeholders, because we want them to be aware that they might buy the tool for their kid thinking it's a good thing, but at the same time, they need to be aware of the consequences of giving a child a phone, a phone that has all these facilities, and a child that's not even cyber smart, if I may say so.
Sure.
Let me give you this example. If I give you a car, you've never driven a car, and I just give you a key and say, just go buy me whatever from the shop, you are not only a danger to yourself, but you are also a danger to other road users. The same applies.
So true.
Yes.
So true.
When you give your child that gadget without proper guidance, it becomes a challenge. And that is why we encourage caregivers to install filtering software for their kids so that other sites are not accessible to them, because if they can access all sites at all times, it becomes a challenge. I can give you an example, the challenge of grooming. If a child can easily access pornographic websites, that child might get hooked, might get enticed, might want to experience what they're seeing online, and they might even want to go out there and start availing themselves simply because they want to see or practice what they saw.
Sure.
And they would be endangering their lives without realizing that, simply because they were not given proper guidance, proper advice. And that is why we go to the schools, we talk to the learners, we talk to the educators, we talk to your law enforcement agencies, we talk to everyone, your faith-based organizations, we talk to everyone.
Sure. Yes. That's powerful. So I assume then a parent out there in South Africa can visit some of the FPB offices. Where would they get hold of us? What are the 2 or 3 ways that they can reach us?
Physically, they can reach our offices. We have an office in Cape Town, 9 Long Street. We have an office in Durban, 36 Silverton Street. We have an office, Eco Park, Centurion. They can also contact us online, our landline 012-003-1400, www.fpb.org.za. We have our page, our Facebook page, we have Twitter, we are everywhere where they are.
That's great.
Yes.
Okay. That sounds like a best way to mitigate. So parents, please take the time, review your own situation at home, look for the signs. What is your child doing with their gadgets? What is the best way that you can protect your child while also making sure they can fit within society? But let's then switch the dial and speak to adults. We also know that there is a growing trend of people who post material that they then use to almost solicit ransom. I don't know what the English term is. What is that? Tell us more, and how can that person get protection from FPB?
I'm glad you're talking to adults, Mpho, because most of the time we think only kids are at danger, but actually everyone is in danger.
Okay.
Yes. We have partnerships with the likes of your Google. We have partnerships with the law enforcement agencies. Should someone come across such a situation, they will report the matter to us. We will then, okay, let me put it this way. One of our responsibilities is to make the community aware of the basket of services within the department, within the government. We have your justice system, we have your social services. The reason we share all this information with the community is so that whenever they come across a situation that compels them either to come to the FPB or to go to the SEPs or to go to the social workers, they know immediately where to go, what to expect. If it's a rape case, they need to understand that you need to take certain steps no matter how difficult the situation is. You don't bath, you make sure you preserve all the evidence, such information.
Sure.
That's what we share. But now coming back to your question, the pictures.
Sure.
There are two ways of dealing with this. The SEPS way, our way, where we will assist in the takedown. Because the challenge is the digital footprint is not easy to remove.
Okay.
Yes. Hence, it's important that we work with our stakeholders to ensure that that content is removed online. Even though sometimes it does resurface after some time, but we try as much as we possibly can to take down that information. And if this person wants to press criminal charges, we then direct them to the relevant stakeholder.
Okay.
Yes.
So they would then use the complaints or where they will lodge a complaint formally with us, and they follow the protocol.
Yes.
To register that. Okay.
They lodge a formal complaint with us. The receiving desk will then submit the request to the relevant desk, which is child protection, and then we will take it from there. But it's not only about receiving the complaint, because we are also interested in the ultimate end of this complaint. We also check with them, do you need to press charges? This is the route to go. Psychosocial support is very important for these people to be supported psychologically, because you don't know what might happen. You might be talking to this person today, and tomorrow you hear that they committed suicide simply because of those photos. So we want to make sure that we take care of the entire well-being of this person. It's not only about the photos that were shared, it's about everything that has to do with them.
Okay. No, I appreciate that. So I want us to look at, I'm sure 3-4 years ago, we heard of very disturbing statistics about pedophiles, a case that went all the way to court. If you can take us through what FPB did with that case, for example, what type of images, not even what type, the volume of images, to give South Africa an example of the gravity of the problem. If you can just speak at high level on that, so that a parent out there understands when we're saying this institution has a broader mandate to mitigate GBV cases, this is what we are contributing to that pocket of services by the state.
Okay. Within the Child Protection Unit, we have child protection officers who are certified content analysts. When SAPS members come across child sexual material, child sexual abuse material, they analyze, but they also lack capacity. Now, where they encounter challenges, where they cannot confirm that actually this is a child, they will then bring the content to us for analysis, because our child protection officers are trained to unpack, to analyze if this is a child. Why do you say this is a child? For example, they look at the wrist, the cheekbones, the pubic area, all this they are trained to do. Now, I'll give you an example with the Boksburg cases.
Please.
They analyzed more than 5,000 images, And just to make sure that when they appear before court, because they do that, sometimes they justify, they testify parent, they need to analyze each and every material. They don't sample, they analyze the whole 5,000. Of the 5,000 that was analyzed, 173 were confirmed to be child pornographic related images. And fortunately, with their expert testimony, the perpetrator was sentenced to 17 years. I think it was 17 life sentences. But what I can say is the problem may not seem to be that big. If we receive 4 cases, someone might think it's only 4 cases. But you can imagine if a case has close to 500,000 images of child sexual abuse material, it shows you how big the problem is.
I can imagine.
And it's not only one child in an image. You find that it's over 2,000
children.
Yes.
In one person's case.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
So where are those kids?
And how do you trace them?
How do
Because
you
the perpetrator has been collecting it perhaps over time.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Wow.
So it's said that this problem doesn't seem big at face value, but the more you dig deeper, it's a monster.
I can imagine.
Yes.
So certainly South Africa, the state has really invested enough resources to help all of us to mitigate cybercrime, but more so protect our children from such predators. And with that, I'd like to invite all members of the public to help us. Let's have dialogues. We will be going around the country, having conversations with parents and all caregivers, including our children themselves, so we can educate each other, but also let's help mitigate the problem. With that in mind, let me thank my colleague for her time and her expertise and wish her well, because clearly it sounds like you have your job cut out for you. On that note, thank you so much. Please contact us at our various contact centers so we can help each other. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for the conversation, Mpho.